Hi, welcome back to Healthy to 100. Today we're talking about vulnerability, and in this video I'm going to be super vulnerable, talk about my own experience and what I've learned from making the conscious decision to be vulnerable or more vulnerable in my life. It's been a process and I'm still in the process of working on it, but I'll just walk you through my own decision and how it's been going so far. So, disclaimer, I have not always been vulnerable in my life. I believe when I was younger, I think I wanted to be one of the cool kids. I started wanting to be other people. I was watching That's So Raven, and I wanted to be Raven-Symoné. I was watching Hannah Montana and Wizards of the Waverly Place and all these TV shows that made me want to have a different life and act differently. So I would go through phases where I would dress in a certain way or put my hair in a certain style to look more like someone on TV. And I guess it's a phase that some people go through in high school. I know I did. And I just didn't know who I was, and not knowing who I was prevented me from getting to know who I wanted to be. So I kind of just was whoever I was hanging out with. I think deep down I had my own personality and all of that, but I think I would kind of change depending on who I was with and what I was doing. So that was early high school, and then even through the entirety of my high school, I know my last year I wanted to be like Elle from Legally Blonde, and so I was dressing in pink a lot. I was walking with my hand like this, and I wanted to have a little chihuahua. So I think throughout my high school, I just didn't know who I was. And when I started college, I became a cheerleader, and I think that was one of the best decisions I've made because I got to know people who were different from my friends from high school, and every person on the cheerleading team was different. It wasn't like those high school cheerleading movies that you see where every girl has blonde hair and they have a high ponytail and they're all the same body type and they all think the same way. Everyone was completely different. Everyone had their own personality. So I think that helped me want to be myself a little bit more. But still, I was very close to letting people get to know the real me and being myself around people. So I would still try to be like the environment that I was in, and I wasn't like completely happy. I wasn't fully accepting myself enough to show who I was to people and believing that I would meet people that would accept me the way I was. And then I went to university. After college, I went to university, and I completely stopped wanting to socialize and I just started reading so much. I would not talk to anyone in my classes. I would not want to go out with people, even though I went to a university that was pretty wild and had a lot of events and had a lot of parties. I would just stay to myself, and I read a lot of books back then. I started writing books as well, which was all good, but I don't think that I had the same experience, the same university experience as a lot of people say they have, which I don't think I fully regret. If I had accepted myself more, I would have probably been able to have a better experience at university. Not that my experience was bad, it was just very different. I just remember reading a lot of books, studying, and not seeing a lot of friends. After university, I had 2 years off where I wanted to find a work. In my department, I studied English literature. There's not a lot that you can do with that degree. I think I started on the path of getting to know myself a little bit more. And at some point, I just decided that I wanted to be happy. And I made the decision that every single step that I would take moving forward would be towards my own happiness. So I wouldn't think of what people expect of me. I wouldn't think of what society expected of me. I decided to just make my own decisions based on what I wanted for myself. And that was pretty hard. It was a difficult decision to make, and it was a difficult thing to continue doing moving forward. Especially when you're not used to it, you're used to doing the exact opposite. I had to figure out who I was, and I had to figure out what I wanted for myself. The type of life that I wanted, the type of occupation, the type of social circle I wanted to nurture. So that was an interesting roundabout where I just had to find my own path and then take it. And then keep moving in that direction, or change direction, but I would just keep moving towards my own happiness. That took me to moving to a different city, to a different province, and it took me to going back to school for a master's degree and meeting my now partner. And I remember when I decided to make decisions based on what would make me feel happy, I remember actually being the happiest that I had been so far. I was doing a lot of yoga, I was running, I was studying for something that I thought I would do for the rest of my life in books. I was studying publishing, and I remember just having such a grateful mindset and being really happy with where I was. I knew I was going in the right direction. And then when I met my partner, he was the exact opposite of what I had been doing my entire life. He was very confident, and he showed me that being vulnerable was the only way to go. In the beginning, when we started dating, I was still very closed off. When I would start feeling certain types of emotions that were not easy for me to express, I would just shut down. I would have like a very stoic face and just probably look like I was mad, and I wouldn't be vulnerable with him in a way that he was with me. And we had a huge conversation about this, and it made me realize that even though I was walking on the path of living a really happy life, I was still not being myself. I was still not being vulnerable, and I was still keeping a lot of things to myself. And he made me understand that no one wants that. No one wants to, that's not what he said, but no one wants to date someone who's not who they say they are, right? You want a genuine person, you want a genuine relationship, and there's no way to have that if the person in it isn't genuine. So that was a huge learning curve for me, to learn to be vulnerable with him and to share my doubts, to share my fears, to share when I was sad, when I was happy, to be silly, and just to be myself. It opened my eyes to a whole world of discoveries of who I was really, and I've tried my best since to remain like this. I'm now working on being vulnerable with other people, which is a little bit different. I'm used to adapting to the environment, and I tried in a past workspace, I tried to be a little bit more social and a little bit more vulnerable with my coworkers, and I was so bad at it because I had no experience in like 10 years of interacting with people. I was trying to be funny, but it it wasn't coming out the right way, and I've probably hurt people's feelings by trying to be funny but being actually rude or something like that. But I'm trying to get back out there and remain myself in all types of situations. And that's been hard. I'm not saying that being vulnerable is easy. It's difficult, but I think it's the right way to go. I think it's the right thing to do when you want to be able to interact with people and have real relationships. So I'm really grateful for my current partner to have shown me the way and to keep encouraging me. Basically, I am still experimenting. I am still working on being more vulnerable. I am very vulnerable with one person in my life, which is what matters the most, with my partner, but it is still a work in progress. And I think that one thing to take from that as well is it is healthy, and it's helped me so much to get out of my comfort zone and try new things. For example, I started taking singing lessons because I love singing, and I've always been scared of singing in front of people. I've always been very uncomfortable doing that, and I think that just taking those lessons has helped me get out of my comfort zone and be more comfortable around people. Because if you're scared of singing in front of someone and then you start doing it, then it's going to be way more comfortable and way easier to be in front of other people if you're not singing, right? If you do something that's really high on the stress level, then everything else seems easier. And then I got into choir, and I even did a solo audition and even a solo performance in a mall. So I think that getting out of my comfort zone so much, going through such stressful situations like this, has helped me be more comfortable in other aspects of my life. I think I'm making progress, so I'm happy about it, and I'm grateful that I'm going through this. It is slow progress, but it is progress. I hope this helps if you're in a similar position and you're scared to be vulnerable or you don't know where to start. I would say the first step is to get to know who you are when you're on your own and when you're just thinking of your own needs and the things that you like, the things that you don't like, how you think, how your thought process. This can be influenced by a lot of people around you if you don't know your own. So just getting to know you will be a good first step. And then figuring out why it's difficult for you to be vulnerable. And then step 3, I guess, would be stepping out of your comfort zone and doing things that you're not used to doing, that scare you, doing things that are gonna make you grow. Those types of things, I'm sure you have examples in your mind already. They're really hard to do, and then once you've done them, you want to do it again. That's stepping out of your comfort zone, and that's always exciting, whether it's singing, whether it's taking dancing classes, whether it's public speaking. Just get out there and do it, and honestly, everyone around you will be proud of you. No one is judging. People usually admire people who get out of their comfort zone and try out things and grow from them. So there's really no judgment here. It's easier said than done, but it's true. Believe me, it's true. And then once you've done that, just keep going. Keep going through those 3 steps. Keep asking yourself what you need. Keep asking yourself who you are, what your thought process is, who you want to be with, what makes you happy. Keep getting out of your comfort zone and keep reminding yourself that you are enough and that you will find the people that will accept who you are and that will love you as you are. And if the people around you right now don't, then they're just not the right people, and that's totally okay. It's worth it. You owe it to yourself to be yourself. You owe it to yourself to live the life that you were meant to live, or that you want to live. It's your life. It's your book. You need to write it the way that you want it to be written. And that's an analogy for me who loves books, but it's the same if you love movies. It's your the main character in your own movie, so you're the one who has to make things happen. So let me know in a comment if you want to be vulnerable, what helped you be more vulnerable with people, what helped you grow in that way. I would love to hear from you. Cool, thanks, bye!